It's time to add some spice to your nooner. Nooner funny. This is the place where big-time guests, bold opinions, and little cute doggies come together. This is Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
And here we go. Welcome in to another edition of Rothman and Ice. I'm Matty Ice. Across from me on the board is CB doing his thing per usual. And to my right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a former Buckeye and a national champ by the name of Tyvis Powell.
3 wide to the right, single flanker to the left. Sims in the shotgun with a snap. Drops behind the 50 to throw. Sims rolls to the right, guns it long, down the right side. Ball in the air toward the end zone. And that ball is going to be caught, and the Buckeyes get it. Coming out of the end zone with a football for Ohio State is Tyvis Powell. He goes racing up and is tackled at the 30-yard line, and the king of the SEC has fallen. Ohio State defeats Alabama 42-35, and the Buckeyes will go to Dallas and face Oregon for the national championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, the people's champ, a national champ, Tyvis Powell in the house today for ART. Happy Monday, big dog. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. You know what? It's the day of free agency, and it's the day that I just watch all these dudes get paid this money. But you know what, though? It's not quite like NBA free agency. Like NBA free agency, you see a bunch of no names, 5 years, $50 million. And you be sitting there like, who is this? Now, NFL, you see some of the top guys fly off the board pretty easy, pretty quickly. But you don't really see them crazy like deals like the NBA.
Not a lot of sticker shock in the NFL compared to the NBA. I think the pool is smaller as far as players go in the NBA, and the money is almost just as big in that league with the TV deals and all that stuff. So I completely understand what you're saying. And, yeah, we got a lot to get into, and NFL, free agency will be a big part of that. Here's our lineup for today. Ben Brown, 1:30. He covers the NFL for Penn Entertainment, and the Score will hop on bottom of this hour to react to some of the deals that have already happened, that are currently happening as we speak. 2:30, Spencer Holbrook covers OSU football for Lettermen. Row will join us then to get an early feel on spring ball and all that good stuff. Just a quick reminder, our podcast is sponsored by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. If you ever miss anything from our show, don't worry. You can always catch up wherever you get your podcast by typing in Rothman and Ice. Subscribe to the podcast as well. So, T, we got to get rolling because there's so much to unpack.
Yes.
Let's start with Buckeye basketball. Just coming out of the Jake Diebler Show. Unfortunately for them, they go over to Indy, lose to the Hoosiers. We knew it was going to be a tough environment over there with it being senior day and all that stuff for them, and the importance of that game for both teams. So you drop one here to Indy, and now you go back to Indy for the Big Ten tournament, and they got work to do. It was one of those games again, right? We've watched this team throughout the year get into spots, and the offense is just spotty, right?
Yeah.
And it goes ghost every once in a while.
Once in a while, it'd be like 7 minutes.
It's tough, right? And it's tough. And when you get a double-digit lead in the second half the way that they did, the last thing that you need is for your offense to go cold. And unfortunately, it was another one of those situations to where that happened for Jake Diebler in the game.
Yeah, I mean, this team is when they're winning games, it's when they're shooting really well. 60%, 70% sometimes. When they're shooting like that, that's when they can overcome the flaws that they have. We already know how it is in the inside. They don't have that paint presence that can block shots. They don't have the rebounding. But when you're shooting 60 to 70%, that doesn't matter. So when you don't have those things and you're not shooting well, that's what happens. You end up losing.
I know a big thing that drove Coach Diebler nuts and the players was 14 offensive rebounds for the Hoosiers. 14. I mean, just the second chance opportunities that they gave up. You can't have that, especially on the road this time of year. Now, I will say this. They wake up today, T. Joe Lunardi has them as one of the last 4 in teams.
Yeah.
So not everything is lost right now. It's you, San Diego State, Oklahoma, and Xavier in that category right now. But they've just put more pressure on them to go over to Indianapolis and win a couple games, maybe even more than that, to find themselves in the dance.
This is the thing. Last year, they was doing some things in the Big Ten tournament where everybody was like, man, you know what?
Flip the switch.
Maybe they can win the whole thing and still get in there. Obviously, they ran into Purdue, the game before the championship and lost, and that was unfortunate, but they have history. Jake Diebler knows how to get these guys going when you're talking about tournament play. So they have to mimic those things. I'm not necessarily saying they got to go out there and win it, but they can't not win like 2. They got to win at least 2 of these things to at least keep that record really nice. And I think if they win 2 and do what they're supposed to do, I think they'll be fine and they'll still get in.
You need your big 4 to be firing off on all cylinders, right? Especially on the offensive end. Like Bruce can go out there, be a great distributor, but you need him to be aggressive and filling it up. And Bruce goes over to Bloomington and only comes out with 9 points in the game, right?
And they be doing that.
It's crazy. And between Mobley and Thornton and Parrish and Royal, the consistency of those 4 on offense, if we're talking about them making a deep run in the Big Ten tournament, it will be because of that. Those guys are so critical to that because we've seen this year as well that not a lot of offensive productivity is going to come from the bench.
Yes.
And so much.
Well, that's due to the, a couple of guys
no
not
question.
being in here.
Right.
You force some guys to be starters. So
100%.
Yeah, you lost it.
That's real. And so what it does is it puts even more on the plates of your starters and the guys that we just talked about. And so when you go on the road, especially, and have Bruce and Mobley not even get to double digits, at least one of them, it's going to be a grind, and that's why you walk out of there with only 60 points on the board.
Well, I mean, when you look at some of their best performances, the 4 guys that you mentioned, Royal, Mobley, Thornton, and Parrish, if those guys got double digits, that usually keeps them in the game. Now, lately, when some of these games that they've lost, Devin Royal's kind of taking a step back. Yeah. John Mobley Jr. has been in a shooting slump. So now, listen, hopefully it's out of your system. And that's part of basketball. People got to understand, people don't stay hot the entire season. There's going to be maybe a couple of games where you're not going to shoot well. But the thing about what I dislike about this is that when they don't shoot well, it affects them on the other side of the ball. Like, all right, so tonight ain't my night. I ain't hitting no trades tonight. But you know what?
I'm locking up.
I'm Gary Payton on defense. We ain't nobody.
Right.
Your glove gets no love. Nobody. But I don't see that out of this team. If they're not shooting well, it affects them defensively, and now they're not giving that effort defensively, and that's why you see them go on these long runs. Yeah. So what they got to do is they got to lock in. Go out there, shoot your shots. Get to your spots, shoot your shots. And if they not falling, at least have some value on this team, contribute to that win in some way by picking up on the defensive end. Maybe be that guy defensively that's just locking his guy down. If I ain't scoring, you ain't scoring. That should be your mentality. So that's what we need to see when they get into this tournament.
It's a good point. And I also, to add to your point, the gang rebounding too needs to get better, right?
Yeah. I was watching, not this game, the game before that. Who they play? USC. Or was it USC? No, I forget.
It was one.
No, it was Nebraska.
Yes.
It was Nebraska.
At home, yep.
Yeah,
Double overtime.
At Nebraska, when they played Nebraska, they were like trying to box out. Like, I can't say that I didn't see like Sean Stewart turn and find a guy and try to box out. Sometimes that ball just bounced weirdly. Them long rebounds, it is what it is. So we gotta, you gotta, it still gotta be fight. You do. I can tell that Jake Diebler has at least made the effort to say, hey, when the ball goes up, turn around and find your guy. I can see that. They are trying to put that on tape.
Especially in the era of three-point shooting.
Yes.
Those long rebounds. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. So they got to take on Iowa over in Indy on Wednesday. And CB, I would say they got to have at least 2 of these. At least 2 of these to feel okay about getting
because
it.
I don't think the Iowa win's going to do a whole lot for you other than getting you a certain amount of games above 500.
Yeah, so they got to have at least 2, T, in my mind, to find themselves in the big dance.
I think everybody's right there. So if they play, who would they play? Do you know? They got.
I'm not sure who they would get after that.
If they win, they play Illinois.
Okay, so they get Illinois.
Ooh, okay. Hey, that's
got work to do.
Hey,
Gotta clock in. Gotta clock in. So, T, they didn't shoot well. But the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday,
yes, they did,
shot the leather off the ball because the Cavs went into Milwaukee and come out of Milwaukee with a 14th straight win. And you talk about balance up and down a lineup. Mm-hmm. You had 8 players with at least 9 points in the game. You and I, healthy respect for Giannis and Dame and that Bucks team.
You know, everybody knows how I feel about Giannis.
That's your guy.
He's the best player in the world.
But the best team in the world right now
is
the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it's hard for me to look elsewhere. Look, you can make a case for OKC. I respect the heck out of what Boston is. Mm-hmm. But what this Cavs team has cooked up this year
it's ridiculous.
Is nothing short of spectacular, man.
You know what's crazy is that it's not just 1 or 2 players. It's the whole team. They run like 10 or 11 people.
They got a squad, man.
Like, it's so many contributors on that team. And I was talking to this with my friends the other day. There's nobody on the Cavs that's having a bad season. Like, you could say, okay, Donovan, but like, no, he's not. Like, Donovan is still having a great average. He's taking a step back because he's putting his trust in his teammates, and they're coming through. Look, Donovan, the game before last, I think he went 0 for 6. This game, he was like 0 for 5 before he made one from Trey.
Doesn't matter.
And it didn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Like, Darius is, like, I think he had like 13 points, like 14 points. It doesn't matter. Like, they don't have to have that guy that goes for 30. Like, Milwaukee did. Giannis had like 32 points or something like that, and it didn't matter. Right. So the Cavs, man, obviously the biggest question mark is what they're going to do in the playoffs. But and I understand that rotation is shortened in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You're not going to run 10, 11 guys in the playoffs. You're going to run your 8 guys or 7 guys, and that's what it's going to be. But right now, the way they playing that ball, man, it's like an old school feel. They look for that extra pass, man, and they find the right guy, and they're hitting their shots.
And that's credit to Kenny Atkinson, because there was a lot of people that didn't believe the big four would mesh well together and could work at this level.
I mean,
right?
Evan hitting them trays make it like, it opens up a lot of space.
If he's doing that, forget about it. Forget about it. Because the Cavs, without Evan Mobley needing to be a consistent three-point shooter, number 1 in the league in three-point percentage this year. Yeah. At almost 40 a clip. They outscored the Bucks 57-27 from the three-point line yesterday, and I wanted to run this by you. We mentioned that 14-game win streak. They've scored at least 110 points in each of those games. I saw this at ESPN this morning. The only other time that happened or has happened was in 1986 by the Boston Celtics, and they won the title that year. 14-game win streak. Every one of those games, they scored at least 110 points in that one. Damn. And the only other team in the history of the association to do that was the Boston Celtics in 86, and they won it all.
See, that's the thing. Like, this Cavs team, they look right. The records is right. Every time you look at, like, oh, when the last time a team did this, they won it all. Like, they hit all those categories. And yet, I'm still nervous about when they see Boston in the East. And respectfully so. Like, Boston, they play lazy this year. Like, I think they be bored. When they turn they switch on and they want to play, like, it's hard to stop it. And I don't think neither team has played each other like full strength. Like, every time the Cavs play them, either Boston's missing a guy or the Cavs is missing a guy.
That goes back to last year's playoffs, too.
I know, yeah, so, like, to me, I'm nervous because, like, when both teams are healthy in the playoffs, because they're going to be, hopefully, that's what everybody want to see. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm scared.
It's going to be a grind, man. It's going to be a grind, but I think the Cavs are built for it based off of what they've shown this year. Coming up from It's Complicated, back to Facebook official again. We'll talk about Myles Garrett and the Browns next. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the doorknob fart game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. At Giant Eagle, we combine exceptional customer service and quality foods, all at great value to make the most of your shopping trip. Visit Giant Eagle or Market District today to see how easy it is to save.
Common Man and T-Bone here for the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Bone, did you know that March has a lot of college basketball?
Why, yes, I did, Common Man. And the best place to watch all the action and play the action is at Hollywood Casino. You can reserve your table now at HollywoodColumbus.com.
Not only that, every Saturday in March is UFC Fight Night. They're showing every fight on the big screen. Watching at home is boring. Don't be boring.
All the action happens at ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
March is on at Lindsay Honda.
Shoot your shot and save.
It's madness. You get to choose your finance rate on over 600 new Lindsay Hondas. 0%, 1.9, 2.9, and up to a full 60 months long. And no trade-in required. This deal works with 0 down. March is on at Lindsay Honda. Save with rates as low as 0% at lindsayhonda.com.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers.
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
More than 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's disease, and 2/3 are women. Hi, I'm Maryland Delegate Cherie Sample Hughes, Chair for Women in Government. Alzheimer's disease progresses slowly over 10 to 20 years in stages. Recognizing symptoms early could help make a difference. A timely diagnosis may allow for more options, including access to emerging care. Speak with your doctor to see if testing is the right next step for you and your family. Find more information at womeningovernment.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Just like that, spring has arrived. Beautiful and sunny out there today with a high of 65. Sunshine again tomorrow with a high of 70. Partly cloudy Wednesday with a high of 65. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's Rothman and Ice.
Sponsored by Pella Columbus, the #1 rated windows and doors in Columbus.
Welcome back in. This is Rothman and Ice. I'm Matty Ice. Got the former Buckeye national champ Tyvis Powell in the house today. Happy Monday to you. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk all things National Football League with Ben Brown, who covers the NFL for Penn Entertainment, and The Score. So Friday, we're getting ready for the show. There's a story that came out, and it says, Jimmy Haslam told Myles Garrett, we ain't meeting up. Mm-hmm. Go talk to Andrew Berry. And I was like, it's not a good look.
Yeah, you called me and we talked about it.
It's not a good look. All I wanted Haslam to do is just sit down with the man. Heck, fire up a Zoom link, T. Just fire up a Zoom link. And let's talk about it.
No. It hit different when I'm sitting across the table.
It does. But my thing is, I was setting the bar low for Jimmy Haslam. At least do that.
Well,
that didn't happen.
Well,
and we find out what? 48 hours later?
Yeah.
less than that, whatever that time frame is, that Myles Garrett ain't going anywhere because he signed a new contract extension that is going to pay out $40 million per year.
Man.
And includes $123.5 million in guaranteed money, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the league. This is an extension off the deal he already has, so this will run through the 2030 season. This is fascinating.
He's going to be in the new dome. Oh, shout out to him. No doubt.
I can't wait to see what that looks like.
Me too.
It's going to look nice. But what's surprising to me about this, and probably I'm naive for fully buying that this was all about football, because that's the way Myles made it seem. And I was sitting here saying, T, at this point in his career, I believe him, right? He's got all the individual accolades.
Yeah.
He's got all the millions of dollars already in the bank account. He wants to go to a contender, but I forgot one rule, that every man has a price. And when Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam sent him that contract that read, we're going to pay you $40 million a year, where can I sign?
Listen, you know what's funny is that I did the Cleveland show. We talked about this, and I literally said, listen, it's hard for anybody. They going to put $40 million a year in front of your face. Yeah. Like, your mother is going to make you sign that. Like, you're not about to just tell him, no, I don't want the 40. Like, there's no way.
I know.
I have been on teams in the NFL and played with players that told, because we had the same agent, told my agent, I don't, listen, go find me the most money. My agent went out. I tell you, it was my boy Jimmy Ward. He said, told my agent, go find me the most money. My agent said, okay. He went out, Oakland Raiders want to pay you this. And he said, we'll go back to San Francisco, ask them, could they at least be in the ballpark? So I say all that to say, people talk about, I want all this money. It's hard to leave a place that you've grown up in, that you've been around the guys in. Like, it's so hard. And you mean so much to the city of Cleveland. They've embraced you. Like, it's you, Jose, Donovan, and it was Nick Chubb, but, we'll see about that. You are the face of Cleveland. Why would you want to get away from that? Like, yes, the team wasn't good, and I get that. You do want to win a Super Bowl. But this the thing. If you say you got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles and you won a Super Bowl, it wouldn't mean that much if you wanted it. But if you win it in Cleveland, listen, my brother, there is God in you. That's where you will be.
You entered that LeBron territory for Cleveland fans.
You can take your wallet and throw it in Lake Erie. You ain't paying for nothing again.
Ever again.
So I think he understood that. And the money, obviously the money talks.
It's loud. And it's very loud. But his game is loud too.
Yes.
His game is very loud. There's the conversation we can have about, will this contract age well? I think at minimum for me, Myles has 2 peak years in him. And after that, I still think he could be a good player. Will he be defensive player of the year type of guy? I don't know.
He will always be in the conversation.
We've seen 1 or 2 of those guys in the history of the league. One of them is Julius Peppers. That mid-30s on, he was still playing at a high level.
Yeah.
Right? And Myles physically looks the part.
Yeah.
But we don't know. But that's down the road. This is about now ownership and the scouts and Andrew Berry and everybody over there fast-tracking this process for guys like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, JOK, these players that are the core players of this team that play at a high level, and finding the guys or the guy at the most position that's going to put this franchise in position to succeed. Because Myles said on record that he believed in where this franchise was going, that they weren't far off.
Yeah.
I guess now we have to take him at his word based off of his commitment to this franchise.
It's a lot of other things that go into it as well. I mean, they weren't going to trade Myles before the start of free agency, like today. Like, he wanted to be traded today because, like I said, those free agents, they're going to start signing those free agents. They're going to draft those young guys, and you'll be an afterthought. So once they told him, listen, if we trade, it won't be before June 1st. Like, he was like, well, in that case, then, now you're going to send me to, like, the Panthers or something like that, and I ain't trying to do that. So, yeah, go ahead. So that could have played a part into it as well.
Because if you were Andrew Berry and you found yourself in a position to where you're like, okay, I have to pull the trigger and trade this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to trade him to a team to where we're getting first-round picks back that are going to be in the mid to late 20s.
Well, it'll be next year if it's post June 1st.
Right.
It'll be next year. You're going to trade him to a contender, so it's going to be a late pick.
There you go.
So it's like
that's what made all this complicated. And also, if you're Andrew Berry, which you don't want on your resume, because to me his situation's a little hot right now.
Oh yeah.
As far as he needs to go out there and have a great draft and have that transfer onto the field immediately, I believe, for him to be completely safe next year. You don't want on your resume.
I traded Myles Garrett the best. And I signed Deshaun.
I was a part of the decision-making core that signed Deshaun Watson to arguably the worst contract in the league.
If Andrew Berry ever gets fired from Cleveland, the next place he'll go, he will be like the guy that manages the money. Like, he won't make the decisions. Right. He'll just manage the cap.
Yeah.
I think that'll be his thing.
So, listen, I completely agree to you. This is great for Browns fans. This is obviously great for the franchise, but now it's about getting Myles Garrett and his teammates in position to succeed and get in the mix in the postseason because he's only been there a couple of times. CB let me know that Adam Schefter apparently has maybe did a little bit of a moonwalk on his stance as far as the Browns for sure taking a quarterback at 2. This is new sound. CB, go ahead and drop it.
You said Cleveland's not up here, but you said Cleveland's taking a quarterback.
I said I was confident then.
Okay.
It was early in the process. Okay. I'm not as confident now.
Okay, how about here?
Interesting.
I'm not as confident now. The Giants, I think, will be potentially in the quarterback market, but I'm not convinced. I think that could go either way. I think Cleveland and the Giants can go either way. Again, the intel, like, we know how this works.
Yeah, right? Of course.
Early on in the process, I was pretty confident that Cleveland was taking a quarterback. I am not that confident anymore.
Okay, so there you go. So an updated take from Shefty. He's clearly talked to somebody, and they've had a conversation to let Shefty know. This is just my guess that we like some of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other guys, too, that are going to be potentially available to us that we like as well. And you and I were talking off the air about, who you believe are the guys that are truly in the mix at 2. And I completely agree with you.
It's 4 names.
That's it.
It's only 4 names. It's Cam, Shador, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. That's it.
And I think Abdul's going to be off the board based off of some of the moves the Titans have already made.
They got rid of Harold Landry.
Yes.
And he posted a tweet that's with a smiley face and the number 1.
So I would not be surprised if that's the case. I'm fascinated by the Travis Hunter fit in Cleveland.
What a Travis Hunter fit would be, I had seen somebody do listen, all the smoke around Shador where they're like, oh, he's not even projected to be a first-round pick. Okay, if that's the case, fine. Take Travis at 2.
And wait for him at 33.
Shador at 33.
There you go. 33. So updated stuff there. Good stuff by CB finding that. Thank you. And, the Browns are going to be sitting in a very interesting spot with them at 2. And I believe Abdul Carter will be off the board, and the Browns will have their option of picking the 2 quarterbacks you mentioned or the Shohei Ohtani of football and Travis Hunter. Fellas, if you've been waiting to treat your low T or ED, or maybe you had a bad experience with yet another clinic that opened quickly and closed, it's time to get over to the Columbus Men's Clinic because they'll get you headed in the right direction and they'll move you forward with a better sex life, a better career, and your gym sessions will be so much better after seeing the Men's Clinic of Columbus. They specialize in seeing guys who think they're out of luck regain hope that they can be successful in the bedroom and beyond. Seriously, go see the team that for 10 years has been number 1 in Ohio for men's health. Stop thinking about it, guys, and get in there. Call 614-300-7400. That's 614-300-7400. Or go online to columbusmensclinic.com to book an appointment today. columbusmensclinic.com. Coming up next, Ben Brown. He covers the NFL for Penn Entertainment, and the Score will hop on to talk about Myles Garrett and everything else happening around the league as free agency is cooking right now. We're Rothman and Ice coming back in 2 minutes right here on The Fan.
Evan Cohen here. Picking a place to build a life is a lot like selecting a draft pick. Make a decision that will set you up for long-term success. Pick Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, you'll find dynamic career opportunities, beautiful seasons, affordable living, and legendary weekends. From its high quality of life and great schools to its fine arts, culinary, and pro sports scenes, Wisconsin gives you so much to look forward to. That's why you should pick Wisconsin. Learn more about making Wisconsin your home. Visit pickwisconsin.com.
Get your yard game ready with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Ego has nearly 200,000 5-star reviews from homeowners like you. Ego delivers the power of gas, but without the noise, fuss, or fumes. Best of all, Ego 56-volt arc lithium batteries are universal, so they fit all 90 tools. Power your yard, power your tailgate, power your life. Learn more at egopowerplus.com.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Jerry.
You know, as much as I enjoy being a professional inventor, a few of my dream inventions still elude me.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Well, the bruiseless avocado.
Ooh.
The unlosable TV remote.
Could change the world.
And for you, Aaron, the uncloggable drain.
Get Eco.
Until you crack it, Jerry. You know our 93 are free drain clearing offer is the next best thing.
Okay. Explain yourself.
Get Eco.
Our drain team will clear your drain for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it'll stay clear for at least a year, or we will clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
We'll even send our little robot camera down there to make sure you don't have a larger problem that could cause more trouble in the future.
Get Eco.
You think your guys could bring that robot over to my place and help me find that TV remote?
I think that's impossible even for us.
Get Eco.
Eco, plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Now you can watch Rothman and Ice.
Go to YouTube and search 97.1 The Fan.
Rothman is wearing the pancake makeup, so you might as well watch. Back to Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. Going to light up right now the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline and bring on Ben Brown. Covers the NFL very well for Penn Entertainment and The Score. Ben, happy NFL free agency, my man. How you doing?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, it's obviously an exciting day. I love, anytime the NFL is at the forefront of the news cycle, which, happens a lot in season, but, it's great to take advantage of in the off season as well, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Things happen so quickly and they change so quickly, as you know, and we were talking prior to us bringing you on about the whole Browns deal, right? Because you go back to Friday and Jimmy Haslam's like, I'm not meeting with Myles Garrett, go talk to Andrew Berry, and then over the weekend we find out Myles Garrett signed a huge extension that's going to average out about $40 million per year. Your thoughts on this whole saga and what we've seen unfolding in Cleveland with Myles Garrett in this franchise?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, really interesting from a news cycle standpoint. I think, all of us kind of went back and forth on, what was the likelihood that Myles got traded, where were even some, potential destinations. And I think, from a fit and where he was going to make an impact. Obviously, he could make an impact with any of the 32 NFL teams, but for someone to actually take on his contract at the age that he was at, I think it was a little bit of a difficult proposition, especially from the fact that the Browns, really had no interest whatsoever in moving on from him. So I think in a lot of ways, we all get, at certain points disgruntled with our jobs and stuff and want to hear that, things are going to change. And I think in a lot of ways, Garrett putting his foot down got the answers that he needs, not only from a contract standpoint, but a future direction for the Browns. I think when an analytically forward-looking facing team like them, they're going to give him the right answers, keep the right guys in the building, and I think long-term have at least an approach at the quarterback position to get the Browns back into this AFC North in the thick of it from a divisional standpoint. I think that's all, at the end of the day, Myles Garrett really wants. And I think if they can kind of guarantee him that's the sort of outlook in the 1 or 2 or 3 year time frame that he wants, I think it just made too much sense for him to stay in Cleveland. So although it was an exciting news cycle, I think him staying in Cleveland definitely makes the most sense and is best for both sides of this sort of equation for sure.
Well, let's stay right there in the AFC North because they got even more competitive getting DK Metcalf to the Steelers. What did you think of that fit, and what do you think they do at quarterback now that they got DK and George Pickens?
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing, right? I think if you looked around the league, I think in a lot of ways, what was DK Metcalf worth was a pretty hot topic at the NFL Combine. I know you could hear anywhere ranging from the second round pick that the Seahawks ended up getting for DK all the way down to a third or fourth round pick. I think there were some package deals and stuff, but I think there were actually a lot of suitors for DK Metcalf, just given where he kind of sits From a skill standpoint, I think all teams kind of value the ability to stretch the field vertically in the ways in which he can kind of win from a deep ball standpoint. And I think it does, obviously continue to push resources in the direction to where Russell Wilson has been successful throughout his entire career. I think in a lot of ways, there are a few different quarterbacks that could be successful for the Steelers offensively, but I think Russell Wilson definitely makes sense given where he's at, from a contract standpoint with him. I also think there would be, an intriguing wrinkle to their offense if they had a more run-heavy type quarterback approach like Justin Fields, and we're still kind of able to take in the top off the defense, but it does seem like this is going to be, a ground and pound team on early downs, taking deep shots, and kind of try and kind of win over the top. And I think if you have two of those guys in George Pickens and DK Metcalf kind of locked in, it is going to open up for at least one of those guys. And I think the direction that the Steelers want to go, I do kind of really like the fit. And I think in order to keep pace in the AFC, they do kind of need to make some of these more splashy moves and really add some marquee type talent at premium positions. And I think very much for the cost, that is essentially what the Steelers were able to do coming up here yesterday for sure.
Ben Brown from The Score and Penn Entertainment joining us here on The Fan, talking all things NFL via the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Ben, let's go down to Cincinnati and get your take on how you think they should manage the situation that's on their plate currently, right? With Jamar Chase wanting a massive deal, and some of these deals that we've seen pop off this weekend, I think are directly going to affect them and the Cowboys. So you got the Chase thing, Trey Hendrickson requesting a trade, and then T. Higgins is on this franchise tag, and he wants a new deal as well. So Mike Brown, Duke Tobin, your thoughts on how they should manage this moving forward?
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to lock up Chase, sooner rather than later. I think one of the main, key talking and sticking points that's going to be coming out of this first couple of days of free agency is the ability or desire to retain your own talent because of the ever increasing, salary cap escalations that we're going to see. And I do think in a lot of ways, the forward-looking teams are obviously locking up those guys early. The Bengals haven't necessarily gone in that direction, but I do think with where the salary cap seems to be trending in the next couple of seasons, like solidifying these guys, getting them in, even if it costs them dead cap weight towards the end of the deal. Like, I think those are all things, especially if you were doing it in prior seasons, is going to look like, the really good 2.5% mortgage rate that a lot of people are kind of looking at for the 2020 season. Like in a couple of years, that dead cap money isn't going to be as outlandish in comparison to the rest of the salary cap. So I think they absolutely have to get it done. The Bengals, are very much not a team that goes in the dead money direction. Really, I think they're like the league low outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers from a dead money perspective heading into 2025. But I think that's an avenue they absolutely have to explore if they do want to keep the big three of T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow not only happy in the fold, but also kind of on these longer term type deals. So I think that, offensively, that was very much the strength of the team last year. And I think, even if they have to go the path of, 8 or 9 new starters defensively, keeping T. Higgins in the building along with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow has to be priority number one. And I think, because of that, we are seeing the Trey Hendrickson, trade discussions. I do think that ends up inevitably happening, especially with them, going out and re-signing BJ Hill today to a 3-year deal. So I just think overall, the talent with what they had defensively wasn't there. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson, one of the lone bright spots, but I think moving on from him and really solidifying the offense for the next 3 seasons is going to be what keeps them in the thick of the AFC North, and very much has to be the correct team building approach that they're going to take here over the next couple of weeks.
I've been on Twitter, and Twitter, on all the people that I follow on Twitter, says there is some steam heating up between the Browns trading for Brandon Aiyuk. What do you think of that? Do you think that is even possible?
Yeah, I do think it's possible, and honestly, it does kind of fit, the MO of the Browns in particular for the last couple of seasons. Obviously, there's like some contract type situations that they're going to need to work through with Brandon Aiyuk, but I think in a lot of ways, it's reminiscent of a way in which they got Amari Cooper. They've gone after guys like Jerry Jeudy as well and Elijah Moore. So I think, Obviously he's not, going to be the marquee top-end name, but very much was thought of that, I would say, even a year or two ago. And I think maybe buying a little bit low on him from the Browns standpoint makes too much sense, especially given the rest of their receiving unit. And I think, obviously where there is some sort of smoke, there is at least some interest level there. And I think given, what the 49ers have done this offseason, letting so many people walk, I would at least not be surprised if they're listening to potential offers for Brandon Aiyuk. And I very much think that the Browns kind of have to be at the forefront of that, given where they're at from both a salary cap standpoint and what they can kind of do long-term with some funny money and some other things to get him in the room for sure.
Ben, we'll get you out of here on this one quickly, because I know a lot of Browns fans that I talk to always kind of go down the road of what if Baker was still around, right? Now, we know that obviously isn't the case anymore, but now he's down in Tampa, and Tampa the last couple of years, I think it's a franchise that's earned a lot of people's respect. You look at some of the moves they made today, and it seems like they're continuing to build around Baker. And just your thoughts on what he's been able to do in Tampa the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, it has been really impressive. I do think, that is one of the more, I don't want to say eye-raising, but I think eye-opening things that have happened so far in free agency. It is them kind of re-upping a lot of these core key guys and really wanting to kind of run back this rendition of what they have in the building right now. And I do think, just given the state of the rest of the NFC and, in particular the NFC South, it does make a lot of sense, because we do have, a pretty decent sample size when things have been held together for Baker, and he hasn't been all, injured and playing through pain, where he has been a very productive quarterback. And I think when you look around the rest of the NFC, the Bucs are kind of in the correct position of, why not us? Why not now? I think keeping Chris Godwin in the fold is very much a boon to them offensively, and I think they just have to win enough games defensively and really not see a drop-off and losing Liam Cohen as the offensive coordinator to kind of be right back in the thick of the NFC playoff picture. And when they do that, it's further justification for them to kind of try and keep that core in base. So I do think it is the correct decision. And honestly, I think, the resurgence of Baker Mayfield has been one of the more enjoyable spots from, an NFL standpoint to really see him kind of come into his own. It's, next destination for him in Tampa Bay for sure.
He's Ben Brown, does a great job covering the NFL over at The Score and Penn Entertainment. Ben, we appreciate you giving us some of your time on a busy day. Have a good weekend. We'll get to that eventually. Have a good rest of the week, my man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a great show.
Appreciate it. Ben was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Coming up in the Buckeye Bulletin, you will hear from Brian Hartline on how he is prepared for his new role as the offensive coordinator for the Ohio State University. That's next. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Hoops fans, are you ready to score big and get lucky this March? What's up? It's T-Bone. I'm here to tell you that Bud Light will be holding mini hoops challenges at bars and restaurants across town over the next several weeks with one goal in mind: to send one lucky local winner to Las Vegas, where they'll compete for $10,000. Take your shot at March Madness glory. This week, join Bud Light on Thursday night as they take over Pastimes New Albany on North Hamilton Road. They'll be there from 8 to 10 p.m., and they'll have a mini hoops basketball challenge that'll give you a shot at a Vegas trip and $10,000.
Make your money go further with on-the-spot savings at Rent-A-Center. Right now, get top furniture and appliance brands starting as low as $19.99 per week in rent without using credit. Only at Rent-A-Center. Rental purchase agreement. Pricing valid February 9th, 2025 to April 5th, 2025 on new merchandise at participating locations. You will not own merchandise until the total amount necessary to acquire ownership is paid in full or you exercise your early purchase option. Ownership is optional. See store for details.
Welcome to Tire Discounters.
Thanks. I gotta warn you, I drive a hard bargain.
Okay.
So let's hear your first offer.
Well, how about with any 4-tire purchase, we'll give you a free alignment.
Man, I'm good. All right, let's do it before you change your mind.
And we'll also give you a free oil change.
Ha! I can't believe I talked you into this deal. Sometimes I amaze even myself.
Don't tell accounting. But with any 4-tire purchase at Tire Discounters, you get a free alignment and a free full synthetic oil change. See store for details.
Buying a home used to feel like a complete headache. Listings here, pre-approval there, financing somewhere else. Now, Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com. A single seamless homeownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things home ownership. Rocket. Own the dream.
Good morning, beat freaks. Who's ready to move? Let's start this day right.
Tasha's morning dance parties are meeting rave reviews.
Lose your phones and find your groove.
They need an ops manager to help their community dance the morning away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LEARN for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LEARN for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LEARN.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Rothman and Ice present Buckeye Bulletin.
Sponsored by Logan AC and Heat Services. Feeling the chill? Call the experts at Logan Services now for hot deals on Train furnaces, including 0% APR for 60 months.
All right, T, let's knock out a Buckeye Bulletin. Tyvis Powell in the house today for AR. Before we hear from Brian Hartline, what is this window of time like for the players, right? You come off of winning a national championship.
Yes.
Sure, I don't know. Hopefully these guys went on vacation somewhere, let their hair down, and enjoyed it, right? It's incredible. I hope they enjoyed it.
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because I ended up talking to somebody, and they said, we didn't have a break.
Really?
Yeah.
No break.
No break.
It's back to the grind.
Yep.
And this is Coach Marotti's season?
Yes.
This is his time.
Obviously, it might have been tuned down a little bit.
Okay.
But, they said they didn't take no break.
Really? Because I'm just interested, right? Especially now where we are with this NIL era. This guy's got some coin to go do some things, do some things, some extravagant things.
That's the crazy thing about the weekend. Like, in the off season, you got weekends. So, let me go knock this workout out. If you schedule your classes right. Like my freshman year, I had no classes on Fridays.
Living good.
So I get up, I get that 6 a.m. workout in.
Done for the day.
That's it. Hey, if I want to go to Cleveland, shoot to Cleveland, and come back Monday, that's cool. I can do that. So it's all about that. But, these guys, I'm sure they'll find time. The coaches, Coach Mick is pretty lenient, in the offseason. If guys need to go home and see their family, he'll say, well, you owe me a Friday workout, so just give me 2 workouts on Thursday, and then I'll let you go Friday. Like he'll do something like that. So
still got to put in the work.
Yeah, you're never not going to do that now.
One guy that's going to have the guys locked in this offseason will be Brian Hartline, who we've seen ascend to a new position that I think a lot of us on the outside looking in feel like he absolutely deserves in-house. Clearly, Coach Day believes that with the new title of naming him the offensive coordinator. Here is Brian on being prepared for this moment and, being in the lab as a coach over the last couple of years to get him ready for this.
It helped a lot, that perspective that you think
you don't know until you're in those spots whether you want to be a coach, and then you become a coach, and when you're an assistant, but then you want to be the head position coach, and so on and so forth. Having that perspective, being in that spot is definitely different. And so the amount of growth that you can have individually in that opportunity is as much as you're willing to make it. I think if you have that mindset, you can grow a lot. If you have a shouldered off mindset like, oh, I know everything already, then you probably won't grow as much. But that opportunity then was awesome. This opportunity is great, and it feels even better currently.
T, what do you think one of the biggest challenges for him will be sliding over to this role where it does sound like play calling duties will be something he's got to handle?
Making sure that to me, I think it's not forgetting that you got running backs too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so easy. He's a former wide receiver. He's been the wide receivers coach. He's recruited a bunch of these wide receivers. Yeah. They already understand the development. He's trying to make sure these wide receivers continue to stay number one in the draft. But you got running backs too. Mm-hmm. You think about the fact that even with the C.J. Strouds and the Garrett Wilsons and all of those guys, they still never made it to the title game. The run game has not been that great, but last year
popped off.
Oh man, yeah, it was the biggest difference. Mm-hmm. To be able to close games out, to have a two-headed monster like that when guys' bodies are beat up from a season, and now your running game is what it is with those two guys. Like, that was important for them to win it all. And now that you know that, I hope that he was like, okay, I understand that I got these wide receivers. JJ is great. Carnell Tate is great. Mm-hmm. All these receivers is great. But I also have to make sure that I get this run game going. And that, to me, I think will be his biggest challenge, because as a former wide receiver, you want to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. So I get it.
One guy that I cannot wait to see perform on offense, you mentioned the running backs, T, is James Peoples.
Yes.
Because he was a guy last year, there was some decent buzz around him, right? Coming from the coaches and how they were talking about him publicly, right? Yeah. And so when you're a young guy and you get that type of praise early on, that lets me know, I always put it in the back of my mind, that's a guy to look out for probably next year. Because Quinshawn and Travion in front of you outside of an injury is going to be hard for anybody to usurp those guys and get out there on the field consistently. But the combination of Quinshawn and Travion, we may be looking at a case this year where you have the transfer coming in from West Virginia and Henderson, right? Mm-hmm. And
no, CJ.
CJ. Did I make that up?
You said Henderson.
Yes, CJ. I'm sorry.
CJ Donald. What's his name?
I don't know why I have Henderson in my name, but you're right about CJ. His last name.
CJ Donaldson.
Donaldson, thank you. Donaldson and Peoples this year may be the new Judkins and Henderson. And I think it's smart, right? Because Ohio State views themselves as a program that should be the last team standing. Mm-hmm. And now we know that's going to take 15, 16, 17 games to get there. And if those guys can provide that balance the way that we saw last year, you mentioned Carnell and JJ. We know what that's going to look like, right? Those guys are going to be absolutely ridiculous to deal with.
Max Clare in there too,
right?
Yeah,
well, that's the name.
Yeah,
because we like, is this the year of the tight end? Is this the year of the tight end?
It better be.
Because if you're making noise at Purdue,
and the only guy that people are worried about,
that lets me know you can go. Yeah. You can go. But James Peoples and Donaldson, those are two names I can't wait to see get busy, because it sounds like Peoples is due for a big time ramp up in productivity and opportunity.
Yeah.
And he grabs a hold of that, man, he's going to become a household name sooner rather than later.
Well, the thing about it is, back when I was doing my NIL stuff, when I was around him and, I talked to him and I was talking to coaches about him, the name that they always said was J.K. Dobbins. Mm-hmm. He reminds me of J.K. Dobbins. He's just like J.K. Dobbins. And it's so funny because when I got around him, when I met him for the first time, I was like, oh, he's short. Like, he ain't
like
that.
JK.
Yeah, like, he's just like JK. But he lets me know, like, if you that size, like short, and they want you here, you must be like really good. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that he's very explosive. In those couple of carries and them carries that you've seen for him this season, you've seen the shiftiness, you've seen the suddenness, you've seen the explosiveness. And what I hear is he's gotten even bigger. Obviously, when you're around Coach Mick, you're going to get bigger. Mm-hmm. So that means he's even more physical now, and he has to be able to carry the load for 16, 17 games. Now, the one thing that Ohio State has done a great job with, even before last year, was they always try to divvy up them carries. They always have 2 or 3 running backs that they try to split carries through, because they want to keep their bodies fresh for down the season. And having Donaldson here, a veteran, that's going to help. You get Sam Williams-Dixon to come back. Hopefully he's in the fold. You got Bo Jackson and all these other guys, these freshmen that's coming in. Hopefully these guys can really carry some of that as well to keep guys' bodies fresh so you can make another run when you get to the CFP.
And I hope those guys are really looking at what Travion was able to do in one specific category last year. Now is pass pro.
Oh, yeah.
Travion Henderson was amazing last year, being essentially.
He got some highlights.
Yes, he does. An extension of that offensive line, right? And protecting Will and allowing the guys to do their thing downfield. Because Travion, I think, really upped his draft status specifically with that. Outside of what he does very well already, what you just talked about with the film that he put out there with protecting the quarterback and picking up blitzes and stuff was big time.
Clinic tape.
It was good stuff.
And that's a big requirement for guys to carry the ball at Ohio State. You know, even just talking to some of those running back coaches, you know, Coach Alfred, Coach Locke, they all talk about, like, yeah, you can be really good, but you got to be able to pass. But if you can't pass, I can't have you out there. So
not going to happen.
Therefore, whoever you see at running back, just know he can pick up a block.
Big time stuff there. Coming up, top of the hour in the deep dive, the NFL is off and running with NFL free agency. T and I will talk about some of our favorite deals so far and what's been happening around the AFC North. That's next. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
You know that project you've been working on? Just chipping away at it, dreaming of the day you get to show it off? Then, when you're least expecting it, cancer. And finishing that project actually happens. I would know. I've been restoring this car for years, and today I'm giving it to my granddaughter. It's her 16th birthday and 2 years since my cancer diagnosis.
Mom, you finished it?
Happy birthday, boo-boo. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Getting cold feet? Call Care Heating and Cooling and we'll fix your furnace fast. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Next on Metro's Nada Yada Island podcast.
I almost fainted when the 4 new bombshells arrived. 4 free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G phones at Metro.
No way.
And finding out the 4th line is free. Oh, things got heated.
That's wild. Join Metro and get 4 free Samsung 5G phones. Only at Metro.
Plus tax. Bring 4 numbers and an ID and sign up for any Metro Flex plan. Not available currently at T-Mobile or been with Metro in the past 180 days.
I'm an old school Joe. I never lay juice I don't want to lay. I don't hate my money like that. I'd rather lay -108 than -110, wouldn't you? Prime Sports is Ohio's full-time reduced juice sports book. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Get a welcome bonus to match your initial deposit up to $400 in bonus bets. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
What does living your best nonstop life mean to you? Cheering on your team at that big game? A music festival with friends? A family vacation? Or maybe a vacation from your family? Live your best nonstop life with low fares and nonstop flights only at Allegiant.com.
Non-stop flights from Columbus to Fort Lauderdale, one way for as low as $44. Must be purchased by 4/24/2025 for travel between 3/13/2025 and 8/17/2025. Seats and dates are limited. Restrictions apply. See Allegiant.com for details.
Do you realize making the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards, it'll take nearly 20 years to pay them off? What if I told you there's a way for you to get them all paid off in just a matter of weeks? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Imagine wiping out all of your credit cards. Here's where you go. AFLcash.com. That's AFLcash.com. Advantage First Lending is the easy button for tapping in to hundreds of thousands of dollars in your home equity. That's not the bank money, it's your money. Listen, your home, the value is way up. And now AFLcash.com has a super fast, hassle-free program that lets you turn that equity into cash. People who do this are living their best life, their credit card debt free, with cash left over for other stuff like home improvements, maybe a vacation. See how much money you can get now. Go to aflcash.com or call 844-394-CASH. That's 844-394-CASH. Say goodbye to greedy credit card companies. That's aflcash.com.
Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1209177. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Something amazing is happening when power outages strike. Teams are powering through them. That's because CDW Solutions architects are building more resilient IT and electrical infrastructures with Schneider Electric. With EcoCare remote monitoring services and 24/7 support, your organization can do more than keep the lights on. Schneider Electric and CDW make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/Schneider Electric.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Well, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
And I'm Cole Bartemus. What a game the Blue Jackets had yesterday in the Garden. The Rangers gave Igor Shesterkin the night off, and the CBJ took full advantage. They put up 7 goals. Adam Fantilli was the star of the show. The youngster had himself a hat trick. It was also a big game for Zach Werenski. He passed Rick Nash to become the franchise's all-time leader in assists. The CBJ will look to finish off this road trip on a high note against the Devils tomorrow night. The Ohio State men's basketball regular season concluded over the weekend with their loss in Bloomington. Ohio State finishes with an overall record of 17-14 and a conference record of 9-11. The Buckeyes will hold the 10 seed in this week's Big Ten Conference Tournament in Indianapolis. Their first matchup will be against Iowa on Wednesday. This update is brought to you by Germain Toyota, the best selection of new and used cars in Central Ohio. View their full selection of vehicles online at germaintoyota.net.
Most shows just skim the surface, but Rothman and I feel like the biggest story of the day deserves a closer look. It's time for a deeper dive.
Sponsored by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 of Rothman and Ice. I'm Matty Ice, Tyvis Powell, former Buckeye People's Champ, national champ in the house today. For AR, bottom of the hour, Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row. He'll hop on to talk spring ball for Ohio State. T, this is one of my favorite days of the year when we talk about sports, and it's NFL free agency. I'm a sucker for free agency no matter what sport it is, NBA, MLB, NFL. But I love what we have going on, going back to yesterday and what has transpired today from the later portion of the morning into the early afternoon. So I just want to give you the floor on this. Where would you like to start? What deal outside of Myles Garrett, because we talked about that already, but for Tyvis Powell, what deal has you excited, has you curious? Where are you at with something that you've seen in the NFL when we talk free agency so far?
Well, this guy wasn't a free agent, but I have to talk about it because I mentioned to you when I first walked in, when I seen it, it just changed my life. When I seen Josh Allen's deal scroll past my phone, okay, listen, you know how you got to look at the phone 2 times to make sure the number says what it says? Yeah. And then I said that, so basically they took his contract, ripped it up and said, we going to redo what we did last year anyway. Just rip it up and make you the highest paid player in NFL history, pretty much. For
those that don't know and may have missed this, because there's been so much that's been flying off, the presses when it comes to the NFL. Josh Allen has a new deal that is a record-setting 6-year, $330 million contract that's going to run through the 2030 season that includes, and this is the best part if you're Josh Allen, $250 million guaranteed. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
$250 million guaranteed. You and I were talking off the air during the break because one of the big quarterback dominoes that's out there at the moment is Sam Darnold.
Yes.
And you said to me, if I were Sam Darnold, I'm staying away
from the
AFC.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Specifically because of the guy that we just mentioned in Josh Allen, Joe, Lamar, and Pat.
Yeah.
Those
not even to mention Justin, Tua,
right?
CJ.
Right.
Why is it that all the good quarterbacks is in the AFC? To think you have to beat a combination of, in the playoffs, at least 3 of those guys that I just named, and I named you like 7.
And those 4 guys that we just talked about are on the Hall of Fame highway right now.
Yeah.
Pat is a lock to get there. Lamar is probably right there with 2 MVPs already with being a lock. And the other 2, no, they're going to be there, in my opinion.
I agree.
Joe and Josh, at the end of their career, they're going to Canton. So Buffalo, this offseason, I think they've done a good job of building around Josh Allen at the early portion of the offseason, locking in some of their own. They got rid of Von Miller yesterday. But when it comes to Josh, where he started at in his career, coming out of Wyoming with this gunslinger vibe about him.
Don't talk about this because there's a lot of Browns fans that's upset about this.
But this guy has really turned. And look, he still has that in him, right? You can't, like, you are who you are. You're wired how you are wired.
Yeah.
But he has put himself in that elite inner circle in rare air of quarterback play, and that's resulted in $250 million guaranteed.
It's crazy that the number 2 quarterback is a revolving door. You know, if you'd have asked me this a year ago, I would have told you Joe Burrow. Last year, I don't know, Lamar or Josh Allen. Like it's such a revolving door there that it's wild. But Josh, just the ability. First of all, it was impressive what he did because he had no weapons that we thought.
No household names.
Once Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis left, it was like, well, who does he have?
Yeah.
You know, Khalil Shakur ended up having a really nice season. Curtis Samuel here and there. They traded for Amari Cooper, but like when you hear those names, it doesn't jump off the page. And yet they had the great season that they had, and it was a lot of what he did. And he took care of the football, which is one of the things that I thought he didn't do. I thought he threw picks, but he did a really good job of taking care of the football. But when that contract came out, I told the lieutenant, I said, listen here, Lauren, I have made the decision that you and I are going to have a 3rd kid. And when it's a boy, he's playing quarterback. I don't even want to hear that DB talk. Don't even come. If you see me with a son, don't even come up to him talking nothing about defensive back. Quarterback all day long.
The money is wild. Especially because the cap keeps blowing up and those positions.
By that time,
that position,
it'd be $1 billion.
$500 million guaranteed at that time. It's pretty wild out here. Congrats to Josh Allen for his new massive deal. Let's bring it back to the AFC North real quick because I want to give Cincinnati some credit. They've got 3 big situations to deal with, but I think the ancillary things that they've done so far are big. Bringing back Mike Gesicki on a nice little deal.
That was what Joe wanted.
And then you bring back B.J. Hill, too. Who I know he was a part of a bad defense last year, but he, to me, is a good player. So
you can't lose defensive tackles. That's one of the things that is so hard to find in this league. What's the guy they let go to?
Reader.
Yes.
DJ Reader.
They shouldn't have never did
He's
that.
a dude.
I couldn't believe it.
He can go. I know.
But, you know, he went to Detroit. Obviously, he did his thing in Detroit. But when you have a good defensive tackle, it's so hard to go out and sign that position. One, if you have one on your team, you rarely see them free. You know, they're not – people re-sign their guys all the time. And 2, even if they do make it to free agency – the price tag on a productive defensive tackle is extremely high. That's why you see guys just draft one and try to develop their own. The Browns went through that similar situation last year. You know, they wanted, you know, the Christian Wilkins and all of those guys, but they were so expensive that the Browns just went ahead and drafted Mike Hall, which a lot of teams end up having to do.
So I love what they're doing there, right? And they got to get the Higgins, Hendrickson, and Chase thing figured out. But Gesicki was very important to their offense's success, 3rd on the team in receiving yards last year. So I think that's they've caught a decent amount of momentum. But the headliners, that's going to be, I think, what drives most of the emotion for Bengal fans this offseason to see whether T's in, Trey's in, Jamar's not going anywhere. Like that is
I
absolutely.
just want to know how they're gonna pay him because they said that they wanted to make him the highest non-paid player, and well now you got to give him 41.
Correct. And this is what happens.
This is why you can't wait.
Don't wait. Wait. The thing that was such a head scratcher for me, T, was this isn't a guy that you have any questions about when it comes to his ability.
No.
He is a one of one at that position.
What he did last year,
he said, okay, you don't want to pay me? Here's the Triple Crown.
Ridiculous.
I'm bringing home the Triple Crown.
It was I can't remember who they was playing. It was either a Thursday night game or Sunday night game where he just ran past everybody. It was ridiculous. He had like 200 yards.
So what has happened around the league has directly impacted, because of the Browns and some other moves, both the Cowboys and the Bengals. Because of that Myles Garrett deal for some defenders, and Micah Parsons and Trey Hendrickson, it's affected those guys.
Yeah.
And then because of what Duke Tobin and the Bengals said that they want to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league, that being Jamar Chase, like you mentioned, now you're starting at 48. So it's tough.
I just don't. I get the whole like pay Joe, Jamar, and T.
Yeah.
But like to just neglect the defense like that.
I know.
I don't know if it's because I'm a defensive player that I feel this way. But, like, you literally just watched your season go up in flames because
of your defense.
Your defense.
Yeah, a lot of the games that they lost, they gave up 30-plus points in those games, right? And Joe and Jamar were doing their thing with T and Chase Brown, so they're good on that side of the ball.
You just can't outscore everybody. Like, it's just not. No. At some point, like.
So it's a tough listen. The Trey Hendrickson's been incredible. I still don't know if he gets the respect that he deserves as far as how good he really is.
He never will get it because of Myles and TJ. And
in
Micah.
his own division.
Yeah.
And I think how he goes about it, he's just like,
he don't say much.
He don't say much. Micah has the podcast, so he's out in front of everything.
He's in Dallas, so he was going to be
loud anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be loud anyway. But Trey Hendrickson led the league in sacks, finished second or third in DPOY this year. Mm-hmm. In the last couple of years, he's been one of the best. But yeah, but then that's crazy because in the North, you got 3 game wreckers.
I know.
At the defensive end position at TJ Watt, Myles, and Trey Hendrickson. The North is just absolutely loaded. And again, we have more big-time names coming into this division because the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing Pittsburgh Steeler things by acquiring a wide receiver. And if there's one thing that franchise does well amongst a bunch of good things, but the one thing that I think they do the best is identifying wide receiver talent. They have this long run of guys that come into that building and are highly productive.
Well, they do a great job of taking guys' personalities and not letting it affect the team.
I think that's because Mike Tomlin himself was a former wide receiver and has a soft spot for that and knows, I think, how to manage those guys to a certain degree, right?
Well, he better manage to get them somebody to throw them the football.
That's the biggest thing right now in the room is, yes, I love the talent of DK Metcalf. Pairing him with George Pickens, you see the vision of what that can be.
Freiermuth down the middle.
But you got to have the most important position locked up. So now here you are trading for a talent in DK Metcalf, handing him a new deal, 5-year, $150 million contract goes to DK Metcalf. And you got one of the most polarizing wide receiver duos.
Run it back with Justin, man. Forget it.
Let's talk about that a little bit next because I do want to get your take on that. And also, Dan Orlovsky talks about another big-time wide receiver going to the left coast and the impact of that. We'll touch on that in pre-snap reads. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Scott the Scots here. How did the grass feel when it woke up from winter? A little crabby. Get it? Crabgrass? Right now, there's a short window of time to apply Scott's Turf Builder Halt's Crabgrass Preventer. It stops crabgrass before it invades and feeds your lawn for a fast green up after winter.
Save up to $20 today at the Home Depot or Lowe's for Scott's Day Long Saving Time. Offers valid March 6th through 19th. See store for full details and product selection.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever for a single line. Just $45 per month when you bring your phone, which is less than you spend on Too Tired to Cook takeout every week. Get one line on Unlimited Welcome for $45 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. Visit your local Columbus Verizon store by April 2nd to save. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on Unlimited Welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
It's March, and you know what that means. Bracket season. You've crunched the numbers, picked your favorites, and maybe even taken a big gamble on that Cinderella team. But when it comes to your home, gambling is not an option. Spring storms are rolling in, bringing strong winds, heavy rain, and unpredictable weather. The question is your roof ready? At Newman Roofing, we don't leave anything up to chance. Whether you need a new roof, gutter replacement, or updated siding, our expert team is here to educate you, guide you, and give you the best options to fit your home's needs. No high-pressure sales, no surprises, just top-quality work from a team you can trust. That's why homeowners choose Newman Roofing, the #1 overall seed here in Columbus, because we deliver an unbeatable customer experience every single time. So, don't wait until the damage is done. Beat the storm before it ruins your big dance. Call 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF, or visit online at newmanroofing.com to schedule your spot this spring. Don't just get a new roof, get a Newman roof.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, 80% lean ground beef is on sale. 3-pound packages are only $3.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Breaking.
It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's time to sign up for the Fan at 10 TV Bracket Challenge.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew, Ohio bottled, Buckeye bold.
The most accurate bracket takes home 1,000 smackers. Reserve your spot now and compete against your favorite fan and 10 TV personalities. And compete against the ones you hate, too. Head to 971thefan.com for all the fun. Yay! March is fun. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Do you want to sell your property, however, you need a little help getting through the process? Let's say you have years of belongings in the home. It needs a lot of updating, you're overwhelmed, you might not be big on technology, and you may need help finding a place to go. I will help you. Maybe you've gone through a divorce or a bad breakup or a relative moved out. It's been hard, and you just want to take what you want and leave the rest behind. I will help you. Retiring and want to sell your commercial properties or land. I will help you. Sellers, whether you're selling as is or selling for top dollar, you're no longer alone. Visit us today at TurboTrackRealty.com or call me now for an all-cash offer and, more importantly, the help you need at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Talk about a beauty of a day today. Sunshine, high temperatures in the mid-60s. And then heading into tomorrow, it gets even warmer. We're looking at a mostly sunny sky with a high of 70. Wednesday, it'll be a little bit cooler with a high of 65. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Bet365, the official online sports book of Rothman and Ice. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Rothman and Ice present Pre-Snap Reads.
Sponsored by Newman Roofing. Call Newman Roofing today at 614-NEW-ROOF. That's 614-NEW-ROOF. Or visit online at newmanroofing.com.
Before we get into some pre-snap action, let me let you know, folks, that at Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Bet365 has launched a new sign-up offer. Listen to this. You bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets. Whether your bet wins or loses, customers will receive bonus bets after signing up. T, we got the Nets taking on the Lakers tonight in Brooklyn. LeBron's going to be out for about a week or two, it sounds like, due to a groin injury. I'm looking at the former Buckeye and Laker in D'Angelo Russell tonight to knock in 3 3-pointers.
He was feeling it yesterday. Yeah, 15 in the quarter.
At plus 105. So I like the juice on that. I was looking at some Luka stuff. His 3-point shooting is too hot and cold for me.
I take him for a triple-double tonight.
Luka?
He ain't got LeBron. He got to. Who they playing?
They playing Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah. That's a triple-double for sure.
If you're interested in that, the juice on yes for a triple-double for Luka is plus 280. No is minus 380.
I'm taking that.
So you'll take the yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so for a Luka triple-double, because he's going to be locked in, man.
He got to be.
He's got to be. He's got to be the guy now. He's got to be the aircraft carrier for them. There's no doubt. So T will go yes on a triple-double from Luka at plus 280, I will go plus 105 for D'Angelo Russell to knock in 3 3-pointers. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, download the Bet365 app today. 21 plus only. Must be present in Ohio. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Offer subject to meeting qualifying criteria.
And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Before we hear from Dan Orlovsky going to break, you were hinting at what you would like the Steelers to do at quarterback now that they have DK Metcalf in the fold. What are your thoughts on that, T?
Well, obviously, I think that the big fish would be Sam Darnold. You would go after him. I know I've been hearing this Aaron Rodgers thing. Okay, that's fine. I think they'll be fine. The problem is none of these quarterbacks scream, this is the missing piece for us to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
None of those guys in this free agency. So I think whoever you decide to take would be a short-term answer anyways. You know, at this point, you're measured on success as if you could just make it past the first round. You know, and I think that Sam Darnold could give you that. I think Aaron Rodgers could give you that. But Justin Fields, now that's the one that's interesting because Justin came in there last year and the offense wasn't like, it didn't like fly. It wasn't like great. But they told him to play within the system. And you've seen a handcuffed version of Justin Fields. And I think that held him back. I think you have to let him use his legs to be creative. You have to, with these receivers that you have to be able to allow him to throw the ball. You know, maybe it won't be on time. Maybe you have to scramble around. But the two receivers that you got are big play guys that if they take off in scramble drill, it's going to be hard for any DB to keep up with those guys to make a play on the ball. So you have to let Justin be Justin to truly see him take off on that team.
He offers more than the other quarterbacks that you mentioned.
And he probably the cheapest option, too.
No doubt, right? And I believe if you have questions about, let's say, his accuracy or being able to push the ball down the field consistently, because of the frames of the two wide receivers they have.
Put it up in there and 50-50 ball.
They can correct some of that for him, right? DK, George Pickens, they offer nice frames for wide receivers. So I would completely understand if that's the road that they went down. Because last year, while it wasn't that sexy with him in the offensive side of things, I also don't know if they had the best playmakers around any quarterback to succeed at a very high level, right? Their floor was relatively safe with Pickens and Najee and Warren and Freiermuth, but now you add a true game breaker on the opposite side of those guys, and I think any quarterback in this situation is now set up to succeed more than where they were at last year, because that's what was screaming to me, especially just looking at their team on paper.
I just think it was I think we got an unfair assessment of Justin Fields because they asked him to play that way, and him trying to be a pleaser, he did that. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary. He didn't try to make the home run play. He just tried to play within the offense. And I think that, like I said, you handicapped him a little bit. I think you have to at least give him the free rein. And maybe he don't want to go back. Maybe he don't want to play in a system where he can't be himself. I mean, when he was in Chicago, what made him so electric is he would take off and break for 70 yards and do all these crazy things. But that's because he had to. now that he's got the weapons and the offensive line is shored up a little bit more, I love to see him be able to stand in there and throw to some of these receivers because I think he can do it. I mean, there's been times in the NFL where he's thrown an absolute dime. Consistency has been the problem for him.
So it looks like one of the quarterbacks that we were just talking about is off the board because the NFL Network is reporting right now that Sam Darnold has agreed to a 3-year contract worth up to $100 million with the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, that makes sense why they traded Geno.
Makes a ton of sense, right? So if you missed what Tyvis just mentioned, the Seahawks traded Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders. And now it looks like there was a plan in motion already because Sam Darnold got I'm trying to get the guaranteed money on the fly here. So it looks like $55 million is guaranteed.
$110 million and a half.
This is similar to the Baker deal, correct? That he signed with Tampa, somewhere in that ballpark. I believe it was close to what Baker did with Tampa.
The good news for him is he avoided the AFC.
Yeah, he went over to the NFC side.
He's a smart man where he could go to the NFC and he'll have to beat the Jalen Hurts and Jared Goffs and Matthew Staffords.
CB, what do you got, man?
Yeah, it's technically a little bit more. So Baker got 3 for 100. Darnold's getting 3 for 110.5.
Okay.
The guarantees, Baker got $50 million guaranteed, and it looks like 55 for Darnold.
Okay, and both have similar stories, right? Guys that were highly drafted.
Same year.
Got to a spot, didn't work out immediately for them with the team that drafted them. Then you go on this journeyman path for a little bit. You get your opportunity. You grab a hold of that and you cash in.
I tell you what.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold should give 10% of that money to Kevin O'Connell.
You're not wrong in saying that.
He just got him paid.
Well, I think to add a log to that fire that you got cooking over there, T, Kevin O'Connell has shown over the last couple of years, you can rotate quarterbacks in here. Our offense is going to be all right.
Yeah.
Our offense is going to be all right. So for
to be tested.
No doubt. So for Sam Darnold, you get a payday, which is great, but he's going into a situation to where Tyler Lockett has just been released.
Yeah, he got JSN.
He's got JSN, and DK Metcalf has been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, again, breaking news here on the fly, Sam Darnold has signed a 3-year deal worth about $110.5 million with the Seattle Seahawks.
I hope this isn't like a Matt Flynn thing. You know, that was like the last time they signed a big time quarterback for a bunch of money, and then Matt Flynn obviously went there and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And then Russell took over and they didn't have to worry about quarterback for a few years. I hope that's not the case. I would actually be curious to know, on the offensive staff for Seattle, did they have somebody that maybe came from the Vikings or something like that?
That's a good question.
That's been from the Rams? Because if you don't know nothing about him and you just going off of his stuff, how do you know he's going to fit in your system?
Right.
That, to me, the Kevin O'Connell system worked for him. So he needs to stay in that type of system. Don't get me wrong. I know they got Ken Walker and they want to run the ball and do those things, but it better be very similar.
I believe that Seattle lost their offensive coordinator back to the collegiate ranks because was it Grubb that left to go back to Alabama or to Alabama? He linked up with Kalen DeBoer because they were at Washington together. So they had Grubb, who they hired from Washington Huskies last offseason. He was in there for a year. Now he's gone down to Tuscaloosa to link back up with Kalen DeBoer. And so to your point, hopefully somebody's in-house or maybe they still got to make that move to put Sam Darnold in the best position to win. CB, did you have something else?
Yeah, I'm just adding this because information kind of comes out slowly with these things. I just saw Tom Pelissero add some context to this because we discussed Darnold versus Geno Smith. It sounds like Geno Smith turned down a similar deal from Seattle, apparently, within recent time.
Some people are going to argue, too, that the Seahawks just leveled up at quarterback based off of how Geno looked a year ago. And so Geno goes to Las Vegas. Sam now goes to the Seattle Seahawks. And so I'm using air quotes here, T. The biggest domino at the quarterback position is now fallen. It's not the greatest free agent class when you're talking about Sam Darnold being the biggest domino at the quarterback position. But again, credit to him for turning his career around and making a whole bunch of money. And hopefully for his sake, he can continue to show that he is a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL.
Well, at least he got JSN, and JSN was on a heater last year.
Oh,
so.
my goodness. JSN in fantasy this year?
Yeah, he was.
Stock's going to be through the roof in fantasy. That is for sure. Coming up in 2 minutes, Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row will join us to talk about Ohio State football going into spring ball. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Guys, listen up. How many of you out there have been diagnosed with sleep apnea? Maybe your partner can't tolerate your snoring every night. You can't stand your CPAP machine. I totally get it. But the good news is there are alternatives to the CPAP machine. And Dr. Mark Levy is here to change your sleep and your life. Trust me, your spouse will thank you later. Dr. Mark Levy can customize an oral appliance that opens your airways, helps you breathe better, and, of course, stops your snoring. That's the main point. It's quick and comfortable and an alternative to those bulky, loud CPAP machines you always hear about. For over 15 years, Dr. Mark Levy has led the way when it comes to treating snoring and sleep apnea, and now he's expanding his practice to better serve his patients with a brand new location in Marysville. I love Marysville. If you're snoring and not sleeping, you need to call Dr. Mark Levy's office today. Do not delay. Schedule your appointment today with Dr. Mark Levy at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. That's 1-800-MORE-SLEEP. You can also visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com. And now, sleepbettermarysville.com too.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Rothman and Ice is sponsored by your local Pella Window and Door showroom on Gemini Parkway. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Miss a minute of Rothman and Ice? Check out the podcast.
Type in Rothman and Ice wherever you get your podcasts. Download and subscribe.
Back to Rothman and Ice.
Welcome back in. Matty Ice got the former Buckeye and national champ Tyvis Powell in the house today. Going to light up right now the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline and bring on one of our guys, Spencer Holbrook. Does a great job of covering Ohio State over at Lettermen Row. Spencer, happy Monday, my man. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me, and happy Monday.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate your time, as always. I want to start with Brian Hartline and your thoughts on his transition now from not only just the wide receiver coach and doing some other things on the offense, but to being the guy, being the offensive coordinator, the play caller, it looks like, for this program now for the foreseeable future. What are your thoughts on what he's going to be able to do now in that position?
I'm really excited to see it, even as early as the spring. Obviously, I'd love to just fast forward and see it in August, but, against Texas. But I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how this unfolds in spring. I really like what I heard on Friday that, he and Tyler Bowen are going to work really well together. Tyler Bowen said that Brian Hartline is one of the most organized people he's ever worked around. Which shows the maturity level that Hartline has and what he's doing in taking this job and how, it goes without saying about how seriously he's taking it and the way that he's kind of going about his business heading into his first year as a play caller. Ryan Day stressed that, he's going to be a first-time play caller, and Tyler Bowen has called plays for 3 years at Virginia Tech, so he's got a little bit more experience. He can help Hartline a lot. I just think that it was also interesting that Hartline stressed as much as he could, that nothing was going to change with his wide receiver room just because he'll be calling plays. I like what I'm hearing. Obviously, you want to hear it, you want to see it in action and not just hear about it. But so far, so good. I think they like the results of what they're getting right now from that transition from Brian Hartline.
Let me take you right on the opposite side of the ball, on the defensive side. Obviously, the Buckeyes hire Matt Patricia. What are some of the challenges that you think he's going to face with, coming to the collegiate game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody points to recruiting because he hasn't done it since 2003. But I think that, sometimes Super Bowl rings and national championship rings can recruit for you a little bit. And, Ryan Day's got the most recent national championship ring, and Patricia's got 3 Super Bowl rings that no one really in the college game right now, aside from his old boss down at North Carolina, can compete with. So I think that's interesting. I also think that, not putting too much on these guys' plates, as much as these guys are professionals now, they're still sometimes 18, 19-year-old kids who, might not be able to learn a defense in as much depth in just a few months as maybe like a 28-year-old NFL vet. And so I think that that's something that Patricia's going to have to keep in mind when installing these things into the college game. Luckily for Ohio State, and I think good on Patricia for doing it, he kind of studied the college game last year, and I think that could come in handy for him big time as he moves into this new role as a college defensive coordinator. And, like I said, he hasn't recruited in 20 years, so we'll have to see how he does in that regard.
Talking all things right now when it comes to Ohio State football with our guy Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row. Spence, let's talk about that quarterback spot, right? You got 3 guys in the mix right now with Lincoln, Tavian, and Julian saying I'm sure seen these guys spin it a few times at practice and some other events out there over at the Woody. But what's your take on the quarterbacks that are currently over there and the skill sets that we really haven't seen yet in games that really matter?
Yeah, I mean, all the buzz is obviously on Julian, especially after we talked to some of those guys over at the Combine who just raved about him. As they go out the door from Ohio State, they're kind of raving about what the future with Julian could be. It makes you excited to see him. But at the same time, Ryan Day wants to make sure that this is a good competition. And I think it's smart for Day and the offensive staff to kind of establish it, not just within the building, but outside the building, talking to the media about how they're going to roll these guys the first few weeks of spring practice before paring it down. They're going to make sure that they all get their reps with the proper people that they need to get reps with, just so they can get a good gauge of where each of these 3 are. We can sit here and say that Julian Sayin is a leader in the quarterback battle, but if he goes out and doesn't perform well in the first couple weeks of spring, then you have to reevaluate and wonder, okay, is Tavian ready as a true freshman? Probably not, because of the way the competition level he played in high school. Okay, is Lincoln ready? Probably more so than he was when he was thrown into the fire against Missouri a couple years ago in the Cotton Bowl. So I think that it's really smart for Day and the staff to get a good look at all these quarterbacks in the first 3 weeks, get a decent little sample size of practice, and go from there because these guys are all 3 just so inexperienced.
Outside of quarterback, Spencer, what is your biggest concern for this team?
I think it's the same thing that Ryan Day mentioned on Friday's defensive line. Not because I don't – it's not that I think that they don't have the talent. It's that I don't think they have the experience right now for us to know for certain that they're going to be good enough. They've got Kenyatta Jackson, who I think is going to be a really good player, maybe even a superstar, off the edge. They've got Logan George, who Larry Johnson was talking about. He already thinks that his production from Idaho State last year at the FCS level is translating well to Ohio State because Larry's already seen it in certain areas to make him know that he's ready. I think Caden Curry needs to take another step this offseason to make sure that he's ready for a bigger role. But then the interior, not only did they lose 2 starters, but they lost Hero Kanu, who I think they were, in the process of starting to trust on the interior there. So now it's up to Caden McDonald and Edric Houston to be the stars. And then Jason Moore, Will Smith Jr., Tywan Malone, those guys have to step up. They have to progress. They have to keep getting better. And so if they don't, I think that's somewhere that you could see Ohio State target in the spring transfer portal window and go kind of aggressively after a guy to kind of bolster that room. But it is a concern right now just because not only did you lose those 4, but losing Hero kind of puts you in the scenario where you're not just replacing the starters, but now you're replacing a couple of backups as well.
We were talking earlier about the running back position, and last year what they got from Quinshawn and Travion, just one of the most dynamic duos in the sport, if not the best duo in the sport at that position. Now turning the page, Spencer, to that running back room, James Peoples, some of the other guys in the mix to grab a hold of that, RB1 spot. I'm sure there's going to be a guy or 2 that gets a whole bunch of work, but the running back room currently and where it stands going into the spring, your thoughts on that?
I really like it. I like where it is. I think C.J. Donaldson has been a welcomed addition so far. He's obviously got to put it on the field, but they like what they're getting from him right now. He's kind of trimming down a little bit from where he was at West Virginia as well. James Peoples obviously gaining a lot of buzz, but the guy that I heard a little bit about on Friday that I think I'm going to start to work into the conversations at running back is true freshman Bo Jackson. Just a guy that Ohio State is starting to rave about a little bit. And some folks indicated to me that it wouldn't surprise me if he plays quite a bit this year if he continues to progress. Obviously, he's never put pads on. He's never taken a handoff in an Ohio State uniform in any practice or game. So you don't really know what you're going to get once the pads start popping. And I think that's always an unknown with freshmen. But so far, so good for Bo Jackson. I think Bo Jackson, James Peoples, C.J. Donaldson is kind of that top three right now. And, that's a pretty good spot to be in for an inexperienced room like they have, aside from obviously the production that Donaldson had at West Virginia.
Spencer, let me ask you about the offensive tackles, because obviously we got two new transfer portal guys that's going to come in and play those tackle positions. But, you don't have Justin Fry. Justin Fry was a guy that a lot of people were upset with because maybe he didn't get the top recruits. But there's no denying that he did well getting those guys ready for, the season. Now that they're gone, the tackles are gone, and Justin Fry is gone, how confident are you in Tyler Bowen being able to get these guys, game ready and have productive seasons?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things of the offseason for not only Tyler Bowen, but for this entire offensive staff. That's why they hired Marcus Johnson from Purdue, the former Purdue offensive line coach who was at Missouri prior to that. That's why they hired Charlie Dickey, who's been at Kansas State, who's been at Utah, who's been coaching offensive line for 30, 40 years now. They've put a good staff around Bowen, who hasn't coached offensive line since 2017, but told us on Friday he was excited to get back to his roots, is what he said, and coach the offensive line. So I think he's got a little pep in his step wanting to do that. These tackles are going to be critical, like you said, Tyvus. Whether it's Ethan Onyanwa at left tackle or right tackle, Phillip Daniels or Ian Moore in there at that other tackle spot, because I do think Onyanwa has a leg up in a starting job, but I'm not putting to rest the idea of Ian Moore kind of coming in and surprising everybody in spring. I heard some tremendous things about him, not only at the Combine, but also, in the lead up to the bowl games. When I was talking to some people, they thought that Ian was starting to pop a little bit during his freshman year. So I think they have three that could be in line for a starting role. I think they probably need to get to 4 or 5 that they feel confident about at the tackle spot like they have at guard. So we'll see what happens, but I think it is one of the biggest things of spring is making sure that your anchors on your offensive line are, anchors, and to make sure that they're ready to go, because if they're not, the pass rush from Texas is going to just overwhelm them on August 30th. And as crazy as it sounds, I already start looking forward to that. It's not as far off as we think it is.
No doubt. Good stuff. He's Spencer Holbrook from Lettermen Row, does a tremendous job covering Ohio State football. Spence, we appreciate you on a busy day, man, and good luck the rest of the way covering spring ball. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
He was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. NFL free agency continues, and we now have a new home for the former Buckeye quarterback, Justin Fields. We'll tell you where he has landed next and tell the truth. It's Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
You imagine it so often, it's almost real. That one dream vacation someday you'll take. Then, out of the blue, cancer. And that dream goes off exactly as planned. I would know, kiddo. I'm in the big city with my 2 best girls. Our 4th big trip since I heard the words cancer-free from my doctor at Ohio Health. All right, girls, let's get another ice cream. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans.
Hoops fans, are you ready to score big and get lucky this March? What's up? It's T-Bone. I'm here to tell you that Bud Light will be holding mini hoops challenges at bars and restaurants across town over the next several weeks with one goal in mind: to send one lucky local winner to Las Vegas, where they'll compete for $10,000. Take your shot at March Madness glory. This week, join Bud Light on Thursday night as they take over Pastimes New Albany on North Hamilton Road. They'll be there from 8 to 10 p.m., and they'll have a mini hoops basketball challenge that'll give you a shot at a Vegas trip and $10,000.
Bats are us when dreams don't get in. Bats are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
Bats are us when dreams don't get in. Bats are us.
Basketball from noon to midnight. Scotty Vegas here, and we're throwing a Vegas-style basketball party at Hollywood Casino at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I even went out to Vegas to scout out how to throw this party. Tough assignment. The Fan is doing 24 hours of watch parties. The opening weekend of the tournament, there'll be custom T-shirts, Pop-A-Shot, Horse games. Oh, and don't miss a game with a 50-foot video wall. Reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
For a limited time at Verizon, you can get our best price ever. That's 4 lines on unlimited welcome for just $25 a line per month with autopay plus taxes and fees. You'll also get the new iPhone 16 Pro, 4 of them for the entire family when you trade in up to 4 phones from our top brands. That's a new phone for everyone, only on the network you can count on. Verizon. Visit a store today. 20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply for phone offer. See Verizon.com for details.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Why would we trade our best player?
Well, at least you got to watch him in person when he was here.
I named my only son after him.
So you'll always remember his name.
Yeah, but what do I do with this jersey?
Luckily, the company has a great return policy.
I wore it for 6 seasons.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Hi, welcome to IKEA.
Look at that selection of outdoor furniture.
Yeah, whatever your space or budget, you'll find a setup for outside.
How about an outdoor chaise lounge for my...
Get some sun side.
Yeah, and a table for my...
Come on over, I'm grilling side.
And outdoor lights for my...
Date night on the patio side.
Ooh, you're good.
I try. We've got what you need to create an outdoor oasis. Plus, delivery starts at $19 when you shop online or choose to pick up at your local store today.
Go to IKEA-USA.com for more details. Restrictions apply. Some products may require assembly.
What does living your best nonstop life mean to you? Cheering on your team at that big game? A music festival with friends? A family vacation? Or maybe a vacation from your family? Live your best nonstop life with low fares and nonstop flights only at Allegiant.com.
Non-stop flights from Columbus to Fort Lauderdale, one way for as low as $44. Must be purchased by 4/24/2025 for travel between 3/13/2025 and 8/17/2025. Seats and dates are limited. Restrictions apply. See Allegiant.com for details.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Tell the truth with Rothman and Ice.
All right, welcome back in. NFL free agency is on and popping right now. About 15 minutes ago, we found out that Sam Darnold is signing with the Seattle Seahawks, 3 years, $100 million and some change there. So now the other domino that has fallen in the quarterback world is the former Buckeye and Justin Fields has signed a new contract with the New York Jets. A 2-year deal worth up to $40 million with $30 million of that guaranteed. So Schefter was tweeting out this morning that this is coming down to the Steelers and the Jets. Justin is over in Dubai having a nice vacation right now and celebrating a new 2-year deal worth up to $40 million. 30 of that is guaranteed. Your thoughts on this move for the former Buckeye?
It's great. You know why? Because he back with G5 sitting on the runway.
Garrett Wilson.
They back to their old days. Yeah. So, you know that. Listen, the Jets is in a situation right now where they need something to get fans excited. Yeah. And I think Justin Fields brings that excitement. You know, you allow him to, you know, use his legs and be special in that aspect. And then you're throwing back to a college player that you were great with in college with. You know, obviously you've seen Joe Burrow do that. You've seen other guys around the league start to pick up that trend. Tua did it with Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle, yeah.
So
Jalen Waddle.
I think that maybe the Jets are looking like, listen, we are in the position that we're in the draft. We're not going to be able to get, you know, the Cam Ward or maybe even a Shedeur Sanders if they think highly of him. So if that's the case, let's get us somebody that can at least bring some excitement. You know, that can bring a competent quarterback.
Yeah.
Justin showed you he could do that. He was 4-2 last year, and even when in the 6 games that he played, it's not like they're in a deal that's long-term. It's only a 2-year contract.
They're buying low.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So I think that for the Jets, for the position that they're in, I think it's the right move.
The other part of this, too, that I like outside of what you mentioned, because I think that's a good point, is connecting him with the wide receiver that can make him comfortable. Right, because you've seen that, you know, he did some okay things with DJ Moore in Chicago.
Yeah.
He and Pickens never really popped off the way that they envisioned that happening. So not only do you have the chemistry baked in with he and Garrett Wilson, But I think the RPO game can be dangerous with he and Breece Hall.
That's a guy that they got to find back again, because Breece Hall, before he got hurt, was looking like
dangerous
MVP type guy.
Yeah.
Last year, he just... I don't even know
just
who
didn't pop the way a lot of people thought it would. Didn't pop.
He didn't make a noise.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was terrible.
And I was one of those people last offseason where I was like, I like him, T, but I don't love him the way that a lot of people did.
Man, it seemed like Aaron Rodgers just kind of took the ball out of his hand.
Maybe that's
because
the case.
The year before that, he was literally like a CMC. He could run the ball. He could catch the ball out the backfield. They was lining him up outside. He was still making things happen. We've seen none of that this year from him.
So now you get Justin over there, who defenses absolutely have to respect with his rushing ability. And so when he tries to hand that ball off or fakes that ball to Breece, that's going to freeze the defense and I think possibly put their offense in good spots. So I like that. I like that three-headed monster they have there. And look, good for Justin. He got pushed out of Chicago. That offseason, they put so much around Caleb Williams, and I'm sure he was looking around like, man, if I could have this on paper.
And it still didn't look good for him.
You know why? Because their offensive line was a mess.
Well, they fixed it.
And credit to the Bears.
I'm about to say, they made like 3 moves this offseason.
And they did it right there. 2 guards and a center, I believe, today. Yep. And so they're doing everything they can to keep Caleb Williams upright. So credit to them, because I think that's going to show itself in a positive way.
They got to with Ben Johnson calling the plays. Yeah. You know, he need time to let his stuff develop.
And you know, Ben Johnson was a part of a staff that now has Justin Fields, new head coach, and Aaron Glenn, who was the defensive coordinator for Detroit. So both those guys in situations with youngish quarterbacks and trying to get the most out of them. But credit to Justin for keep swinging, T, right? He got put in a situation in Chicago that was unfortunate. You go over to Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, yes, was hurt in training camp last year, which led to that opportunity. But you mentioned he walked out of that deal or got, put to the sideline with a 4-2 record. And I just think there's a lot of intrigue about if we hit on this guy, we found something.
Well,
and when you have that, you're going to get these opportunities, and more importantly for Justin, this money.
If you look at the latest trend or the fad in the NFL, it's take a quarterback that was drafted high, work with him, and try to revive his career. We've seen Sam Darnold. He just cashed that in for a $110 million deal. We've seen the Geno Smiths, who just got traded, and he cashed his in with the Raiders for a big deal. We've seen Baker cash his in for a big deal. Hopefully Justin Fields can be in that same boat.
And this is very low quarterback money, compared to a lot of the other deals.
He go out there and he balled. They'll rip that last season up and they'll redo it.
Let's do an extension popping right now. So congrats to Justin Fields. Hopefully he can get out there to the Big Apple, play a whole bunch of games, play at a nice high level for them, and secure that position in New York for years to come. So now that this is taking another quarterback off the board, what comes back into focus, T, is, well, what the heck are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to do?
They got to go Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or draft Jackson Dart. That's like the 3 options.
Mr. Unlimited.
So you got him there, and I thought Ben Brown earlier from Penn Entertainment and The Score brought up a good point. If there's one thing Russell Wilson does well, is push the ball downfield with, the deep ball. Now, there's so many other things that you have to do as a quarterback to lead your team to success. But maybe if it's a skill set thing, that's a breadcrumb we should follow from Pittsburgh, is bringing in a guy like DK, who is an explosive wide receiver himself. Maybe that's what they want to do. I don't think either one of those options outside of Dart and what you mentioned, and even that, you're talking about a rookie, they're going to be limited with their offensive play. I just don't know if Aaron Rodgers has any type of, hey, I can put the cape on situation and lead us to where I need to go.
He had a couple games last year where he was like, he looked pretty good.
And that's where we're at. And so that's a situation that
any of these quarterbacks is going to be like that.
It's going to be bleak, right? Yeah. You're going to need to have a whole bunch of juice around them. And maybe Rodgers is refreshed. I don't know. I just happen to think what we saw from him last year is who he's going to be for the next year or two, however long the dude wants to play.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
They're going to draft Will Howard in the 2nd or 3rd round. He's going to be ready at the second half of the season, and he's going to take off and be a really good quarterback, and all Browns fans is going to be upset.
Why?
Because that just sounds like something that happens.
That you take a guy and the other guy that
take
goes
an Ohio
later.
State guy that the Browns should have taken, and they decide not to take him. Pittsburgh picks him up, and he turns into a star.
I know Will can't wait for that pro day, though.
Oh, yeah. He got to bounce back.
Got to clean some things up. It's much better ball in there.
They ain't going to have a ball on the ground. It's going to be crispy.
Yeah, no doubt. So, yeah, Pittsburgh, they're just calling this cycle, T, of these aging quarterbacks or quarterbacks that are younger, but their skill set isn't very high. Like, they can't get off this train.
This was the worst year to have quarterback problems. They're in the same boat the Browns are in. Like, you finally get like a decent pick, and the quarterback class aren't good. Then you try to go to free agency, that quarterback class ain't good. So it's like,
it's tough.
At the end of the day, you're like, all right, we might as well just take the same guy we had. At least we made the playoffs.
The dream for them would have been Dak Prescott hitting free agents.
Oh, yeah.
And then they could have just thrown the biggest bag at him.
He would have took it.
And I think he would have took it and came to Pittsburgh. That changed, the morning of the Week 1 game against the Browns?
Yep.
He signed that deal.
$231 guaranteed.
With the Dallas Cowboys. So, just a lot of movement right now in the NFL. Again, if you're just joining us, Sam Darnold to the Seattle Seahawks, Justin Fields to the New York Jets. That's a version of Tell the Truth for today.
The truth shall set you free.
Just a quick reminder, if you ever miss anything from our show, don't worry. You can always catch up because wherever you get your podcast, type in Rothman and Ice. Everything we do from noon to 3, we'll be waiting there for you. Subscribe to the podcast as well. T, we appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you as well.
CB, great job on the board. Folks, thanks so much for listening. We always appreciate your time. We love you. Coming up on Common Man and T-Bone. Pizza Madness continues. Stay safe, stay warm, stay cozy with this nice weather. We'll talk to you tomorrow at high noon. We're Rothman and Ice right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
Common Man here for Worthington Jewelers. I was the voice of another company for a long time, and then my good friend Bob Capace changed my mind about the jewelry experience. 25 years of local, 25 years of relationships. Experience the difference for yourself just like I did. The spring bridal sale is going on right now. You buy one, you get one 50% off. The best prices of the year on natural and lab-grown diamonds. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com.
Bobcat Enterprises is your family-owned partner for landscaping and construction projects. Bobcat Enterprises sells and services a full line of Bobcat equipment, including compact track loaders, excavators, tractors, and more. Plus, Bobcat rents compact equipment and attachments. With Bobcat, you can rent the machine and own the results. Keep your business local. Stop by Bobcat Enterprises in Hilliard, Reynoldsburg, or Zanesville, and find current specials and our full line of products by visiting bobcatent.com today.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
March is on at Lindsay Honda. Shoot your shot and save. It's madness. You get to choose your finance rate on over 600 new Lindsay Hondas. 0%, 1.9, 2.9, and up to a full 60 months long. And no trade-in required. This deal works with zero down. March is on at Lindsay Honda. Save with rates as low as 0% at lindsayhonda.com.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference.
See lindsayhonda.com for details.
Hey friends, Beamer here, and all right, somebody cue up the wedding bells because I just hit my wedding weight. Down 56 pounds with the Awaken 180, and I officially weigh the same as the day I said I do. What's even crazier was how fast I took off what probably took me 6-7 years to put on. Only 3 months in, and I've made a complete 180. We cracked open the wedding album to compare, and yes, I'm looking the same that I did 7 years ago. Although be it a few more gray hairs with a 2-year-old running around, that tends to happen. I'm not done, though. Once you learn how easy losing weight can actually be with Awaken 180, your goals, they start to get bigger. Wedding weight, yeah, I hit that, but why not see what it feels like, what it looks like to be at my ideal weight? All goals start shifting. Who knows? Maybe I'll start hitting some 5Ks, playing tennis, being more active. Probably not going to hit 5Ks, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. What does your life look like down 30 pounds, 50 pounds, or even more? To find out, do what we did and make your own 180 at awaken180weightloss.com.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Finding the right employee for your company is tough. One wrong hire can be a major setback. You're not alone if you face this. A recent survey by Robert Half shows nearly half of hiring managers readily admit to making a bad hire. Luckily, there's a solution. With Robert Half's specialized recruiter's experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can have the right skilled professional in place quickly. We understand what it takes to build winning teams because at Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at Robert